Welcome back in, y'all. We are Black Girls Talking TV, where we bring the group chat to life and discuss all your favorite TV shows. Today is all about the season 48 finale of Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
If you have not watched the finale yet, save this video. Come back when you have watched it because we will be dropping spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Victoria. I'm one of your hosts and a psychologist.
And I'm Kamaria. I'm an attorney and a pop culture writer, and I am also your host. So, welcome. We're excited to talk about the finale. Like, you finished the whole thing after they crowned Kyle the winner, but I went to bed because they kept me up too far past my bedtime. But I enjoyed the result, the end result.
Yes. Hands down to as I said, if it's not Camilla, then it has to be Kyle. And if it's not Kyle, it has to be Camilla.
Yeah.
Either way, I would have been happy as long as it was one of them.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that, like, as a jury, that they did not reward the no strategy game, because, like, not trying to say nothing about Joe and Eva, like, they were great and it was a big strong alliance. Yes, kudos to that, but that's one, boring, and it's too easy, like, and it just, I think if they had done that, I feel like the jury kind of would have shifted in terms of later seasons, and probably would have started like being like, okay, we the loyalty, and like we would have seen this more boring game play come out more often. So I'm so glad that they just like rewarded the strategy, because it was like Joe and Eva got up there and it was just like, what was the outwit part? You know what I mean? Like, and they walked right into that thing with Camilla and the Shaheen vote. I was like, yeah.
I think also too, it just would have been a slap in the face to everyone's game that was up there to vote for somebody who had no strategy, because it's saying like, yeah, I'm actually okay that this big alliance just picked us off one by one with no actual strategy. It was just easy vote, easy vote, easy vote, easy vote, easy vote. Shaheen's vote was the only strategic vote
in this
up there.
game, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you have to reward the one who had strategy, because that is outwit, outplay, outsurvive, point blank period.
Yeah.
So I think it would have been a display of a lack of respect for all the hard work that everyone had put in. You know, to get picked off, especially like the Chrissies, the Cedrics, the people who in the very beginning were trying to say like, we have to come for this alliance. Like if they would have voted, if Chrissy, no, I'm not going to say Cedric, because Cedric, he had his reasonings for voting for Joe, but Chrissy, if Chrissy would have went that way, or anybody that was like, you know, first couple people out, it would have just been like, y'all just went out to go out, you know, like.
Yeah.
So
who was the second vote for Eva? I ain't stay up to watch.
It was Mary and Star.
Oh, okay. So I was gonna say, I knew Star was voting for Eva for some reason. I don't know. I wouldn't have voted for Eva. But
Star
she
said,
almost, like I said, Eva had a story. Like, homegirl was,
yes,
like, she almost, I didn't know who was gonna get it, y'all. I did not know. I was like,
I didn't either.
Kyle gonna get this even? And on top of that, Kyle was like being mute over there, like he was not talking that much. And I was like, I kept being like, Kyle, sell your case, sell your case. What's happening? What's happening? And I feel like it was the alley-oop from Camilla that helped to land him. But even like you mentioned, how he didn't talk about the Thomas vote. Like, that should have been in there. That's on your resume. That was early game. You've been consistently playing a very strategic game. And so I was a little concerned. Like, the combination of Eva's speech being excellent, I thought she brought it.
Yes.
Like, she brought it. It's just that this.
She said, baby, I went to Brown. I do this.
Yeah, she did. Real. She had a really good, her speech was just good. You know, it was just good. She raised a lot of good,
especially her ending speech.
Yes, that's the one I'm talking about.
She was like, we've had a lawyer, we've had a strong player, but you have not had an unprecedented player. Right. I was like, yeah, you right.
I was like, girl, she might got this. Like, and then when Mary voted, and I saw Mary's, I was like, oh Lord, because I was counting a Mary and a David vote to vote for Kyle, because I thought they were going to be like, we told y'all something was up, but y'all didn't want to listen to our spidey senses. But she didn't.
But I will say too, though, I was thinking like in terms of the edit, like because we talked about this before, where when Mackenzie won, Mackenzie was really, her personality was very big. Like, she shined bright during the final tribal, and so it made sense why she won, even though Charlie still had a good game sitting next to her. And with that edit, I went back to that moment that we had discussed, because I was like, Eva is shining in this tribal. And so I was like, did they just, to kind of complete her story, did they want to give her this shining moment through the tribal to kind of show how she overcomes adversity and she's able to get up there, speak well under pressure, and, do what she has to do to secure some votes, even though they knew it was Kyle?
So you saying like,
I didn't know.
Are you saying like the edit, or are you saying like the jury knowing that most people were voting for Kyle?
I think it was the edit.
The edit, okay.
The edit. Yeah, I think the edit was to show us that, Eva can overcome adversity. She just had this amazing fire challenge.
Yeah.
I
definitely think they represented her well, because had Kyle not made it, and had they not kept Kyle and Camilla, that was their fatal flaw. Keeping Kyle and Camilla. Like, I don't even think Mitch could have beat them at this point, now that I think about it. The way Mitch is, I mean, he probably could have, but he just wouldn't have much to talk about. He would just, he just was likable. I don't think he would have had much to talk about. But I think they could have beat Shaheen. I think that was their best bet.
Oh, yeah.
Like, do you think that I wonder, like, just honestly, I'm not even trying to play Shaheen, but I just wonder what the jury would have done in that situation had they voted out like Mitch that night, let's say, right? And then they voted out Camilla the next night. I think that's who was next, or Mary or whatever. Like, and then Kyle was the fourth out or something like that because of fire. And it was the three of them at the end. Like, I just feel like, or even if Shaheen had double crossed Kyle, I just feel like I feel like Eva would have won that. I feel like she would have won that.
Well, maybe and maybe not, because in order for Shaheen to have been there next to Eva and Joe, that means that he crossed Kyle and Camilla. And he could have said, like, I had a working relationship with them, and now they're both over there because I knew I couldn't win next to them.
But I don't think he had a formalized like working relationship with them as a unit. I think he had Kyle in the alliance, of course, the strong alliance, and then Camilla he did have that. But it was like independent. So I don't feel like he would have been able to be like, boom, I was working with them and like I had a team. It's just like, no, you had like maybe individual relationships. We'll give you that. But like, I don't know. I wonder what people would
maybe not. Yeah, it would have been interesting.
Maybe he would have.
It was also interesting though that they said like if Camilla was down there, Camilla would have won.
Who said that? They said that.
Star said it. Yeah, Star literally was like, "Oh, if Camilla was down there, she would have got every last vote on this jury."
Did people nod and stuff like that? Because I didn't see that.
Yes, okay. Everybody nodded.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But that's what I said. I think she could have beat anybody. Like, and I think she would have argued. No, like Kyle's a lawyer. Like I said, I was saying to you the other day, I'm a lawyer. People expect like, oh, you're a great negotiator. It's like, I'm not, okay? That's not what I do. That's not the lawyering.
There's many ways, there's many forms of a lawyer.
Yes, so I'm like, he is a lawyer. I don't know if he's a courtroom lawyer. I don't know if, or whatever. Like, I don't know. So it doesn't necessarily mean just because somebody's a lawyer that they are going to be able to do every single lawyer skill. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not all required in different jobs. Like if you're a transactional attorney, it's not going to be a skill set. So I was like, I felt like Kyle did bring it home. I felt like there could have been more in there. And I feel like, I don't know what kind of lawyer he is, but like,
he's not aggressive. And I think that's what he was missing.
Yeah.
He wasn't aggressive with his speeches. And like when he was, it was like he didn't, I feel like the human side of him, it made it very difficult for him to try and like poke holes in everyone else's game and like really like come at the questions with these very specific type of answers because of who he was sitting next to.
I agree.
Now, I mean, for real, next to anybody, like we see Kyle has been like, he has led with being a human first. He was about to give up his spot to to help Eva. You know what I'm saying? So, and we'll get to that in a second. But, but I don't think Kyle has it in him when he has created these bonds and these relationships to just really just come and bring it. He was just like, I'm just gonna speak from the heart, because every time he spoke, it was like heartfelt, heartwarming, and I mean, this is all I had, and this is what I did, and you know, my best person was Camilla. That was my secret, because he didn't even say that when they asked what was the secret.
I know. I was like, Kyle. I was like I was texting you like you were Kyle. I was like, Kyle, you gotta say this. Why aren't you saying this? But I'm like,
hey, I thought during that moment was, when you get to the end, don't be revealing your profession, because that just gave Eva the door wide open. Yeah, not only to use it against you in her final speech when she said we've had a lawyer, but also to take away the shine that Kaya was having in that moment. Oh, you want some more? I looked to Brown.
I know.
Said, oh boy.
I mean, I thought it was good for him to say, but I think you have to wrap it up in your story of your game, right? You know what I mean? You have to be like, look, there's, y'all know me, but then there's also these pieces of me that I was using in this game and y'all didn't know. One, I'm a lawyer. Right. Hey. And then like two, I had this deal. You know, I would have loved for him to have introduced that thing with Camila. And so like his relationship with her and like let him have told that story instead of her have the alley-oop. But I enjoyed the fact that she did, you know, say like, look, all right, it's time. Let's drop it on there. But yeah, I thought he was just like, his game was the best. Like, and to be honest, I'm even gonna give him that, like throughout the season I've been thinking like Camilla had a better game, right? I actually do think the exact right person won. I think he had the better game of the two of them. I feel like she like remember I was saying in the middle game, it was like she's kind of like towards the early end game, like I'm like, where is she? Like she's just kind of just there, and Kyle's really carrying this in terms of his connection with the Strong Alliance. But it just like he did a perfect game. It's like he was a part of the Strong Folks Alliance, which we didn't like that. It was kind of boring, but he also didn't rest on that. Like, and that's why his game was so well-rounded. Like he said, it's like he didn't rest on that. He was like, I got this little side thing, and at any moment, if this thing's starting to look not right, I will chop a head off. And so I feel like the right person won for sure. I just was like in there when he was talking, I was like, oh God, I need you.
He deserved it.
Yeah.
I was thinking back when he said too, like, his biggest weakness was his overconfidence, and then he brought up that first challenge where him and I forgot the other guy's name. They had to go do that little side quest to get tools for camp. Yeah, Kevin. And I remember thinking in that moment, like, like get it together. Like he's flustered. He can't work well under pressure. He's a little, you know, impulsive and all over the place and hyperactive. But when he said that, I was like, yeah, you've really developed and progressed as a player.
Yeah, I thought that was a good.
Because we didn't really see that, like, we didn't really see that like nervous, jumpy side of him again until that confrontation with David. But he kind of kept that under wraps, and at least for what we saw, he did his best to remain calm while he was navigating the middle the entire time. So yeah, I was like, yeah, job well done. Like you developed as a player, you saw where you were weak and you were able to pivot and change direction. You created the relationships you needed to have. You won immunity challenges when you needed to. Like, yeah, you had an idol. Job well done.
When did he use it?
He gave it to Camilla to use during Nuvula.
I don't even remember, for whatever reason. Like, I don't even remember. When they were with Shaheen and them?
Yep.
How did it play out?
When they got Thomas out.
She played her idol?
It was Kyle's idol.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. She played his idol then? Girl, my memory. What's wrong with my memory?
Yeah, I think one of them played it. Okay. I can't remember exactly who, but it was Kyle's idol. I felt like he...
I don't even remember, girl. My brain is so fried right. I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But
you got me over here questioning.
I don't know. But one of the things I did think about in terms of his closing or just the whole last tribal is that certain people have different, like, just going back to the courtroom thing, certain lawyers have different courtroom styles that work for them and don't work for other people. You know what I mean? And there's something
Hmm.
about the way he was in terms of like very endearing and just like, I'm kind of this, kind of that, kind of smart, kind of good looking, kind of all these different things. And it's like, it's like this endearing sort of thing. So I think,
It's Obama. It is young Obama.
no, young Barack. Gotta get the name right.
Yes, he
Young
is
Barack.
young Barack for sure.
Yeah.
For
So
sure.
I
It's likable,
yeah.
right? Like, and you can, like, just imagine him defending another black man in the court, right?
Mhm.
To come with
Mhm.
this very, like, endearing, like, come on, judge.
Mhm.
Like, this man, he's a father. He's trying to he's just trying to feed his kids.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
he's a first
Yeah, I
offender,
know. That's what I'm saying,
like,
like, certain things work for certain people, like, it's so I was saying,
yeah.
like, that piece of it too is, I'm more of a aggressive sort of like, when I used to be in the courtroom, like, not anymore, I hated it, but I'm very aggressive, and I'm very, but I remember coming across one attorney one time who was, like, very soft-spoken, and she hammered you, though, so I'm like, I can see his style working for him.
Yeah.
But it
It
got him
was
into
like
trouble.
passive persuasion,
Yeah. Yeah,
like
it's like, I'm not gonna press
it was
you.
passive, but you felt it. You was
Yeah,
listening.
yeah.
So shout out to my boy.
Yeah, Kyle was great. Enjoy
Let's talk about Camilla though for just a
watching.
second.
Yeah.
One thing I really loved was just when Camilla said, like, I have decided at this point that I'm playing for me and
Oh,
Kyle. And it's really, really important for one of us to be at the end. And I was just like,
yeah, yeah.
that's what it's all about.
Mhm.
Community, making sure, like, it don't matter if it's me, if it's you. We know right now in this moment, both of us cannot sit at the end no matter how much we would like it to be that
Mhm,
way.
mhm.
I don't even want to split the votes up.
Yeah.
I want to make sure one of us gets it.
Yeah, yeah, no, that was interesting. And I text you, or I think I sent you a voice note, and I was like, it's so crazy how like Survivor really is like life. You know what I mean? Because it's like I just knew she was gonna get, I just knew she was gonna make it to the end, and it's like, heck, sometimes the heartbreaking moments just happen, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. But in some seasons, you have like Wendell. I don't remember whatever season he was, but when he made, I was like, oh my God, I think he was the first black male to win Survivor.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, the stars have aligned for him. Like,
Yeah.
it just, I was like, wow. And then, like, just different people who I've enjoyed. They've had wonderful games, and you're like, it's gotta be them. It's gotta be them. And then it's them.
Yeah.
But here it just wasn't her. And so I was kind of sad about that. But yeah, like you said, um, this was a nice moment, like, for the culture, for sure, for sure. And
Yeah.
I thought, like, at the last episode we were talking about, like, I thought that she was gonna cut Kyle because
Yeah.
of that line where she said, "My best chance is not sitting next to him." But that was at 4,
Right.
not 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you think about the decision to get rid of Mitch instead of Joe?
Um.
Because I didn't like that.
Yeah, I didn't really like it either. I was trying to figure out, like, I guess I was trying to figure out, like, do y'all really feel like y'all can't win next to Mitch? Like, the math just wasn't mathing, but they know the jury, right, better than we
Hmm.
do.
Hmm.
So I was like, when it was happening, I was like, if this is what y'all feel like it is, then that's what it is, because I felt like Mitch's $1 million mistake was not going for Joe just because he did not trust Mary and Star.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I think the jury would have ate him up for that. Like, I
Hmm.
don't see Mary sitting there and not confronting him about that situation to make
Hmm.
it known, like, no, you actually had a chance to make a move and you didn't. And I don't see, just riding to the end being something that would have been voted for, but him being likable in a game where this strong alliance was dominating, maybe that is seen as a threat.
Hmm. Yeah, I could see them,
Yeah, I
like,
don't know.
the only thing I thought about is, like, I could see them being concerned that, like, he is another person that's going to split their jury votes, right? Because he's got
Yeah.
these friends on the jury. Because that was their big advantage against Joe and Eva, is that all of their friends were on the jury, right? And people who
Hmm.
dislike this strong person alliance. And so that's one thing I thought about with regard to them. But there was something else about Camilla that I wanted to touch on, the fire making. I really loved before the fire, all that experience when she's talking about like talking down her negative self. But then when she made the fire, she was just talking really negative
She went
to
right back
herself.
into it.
Yes, and I give her grace because like I recognize that like I don't know how old she is, but like that's years of conditioning. Your brain is it's
Yeah.
habit to do that, and it does take active disruption. And in those moments when we have trauma, and I know you know more than anybody, what is in our autopilot just kicks right back in. So I understand it, but I was just like, oh man, I was like, Camilla, like I was yelling at the screen. I was like, talk
Yeah.
positive to yourself, please,
Yeah.
please. This is the moment you need it. And so, yeah, because I wouldn't have minded seeing Camilla and Kyle in the end together.
Yeah.
Making fire. I mean,
Yeah.
Kyle wouldn't have won, I guess, based on everything everybody said. But I think that if they were in there with Joe, Kyle, and Camilla, like it just would have been a vote. It would have been them. Like I don't think Joe would have got any votes, and maybe he would have got
Oh,
a Cedric vote.
absolutely not.
Maybe he would have got a Cedric vote. But I just feel like I don't know. I don't know.
Oh yeah, maybe since for his reasonings,
How
that
many
little
how many
throwaway vote.
folks
I
are on the
said, boy,
jury?
it
Seven or
was. I don't even
was it
know.
7 or 9?
9.
I think it was 9. It looked like a
Child.
little. I'm just eyeballing the
Yeah.
math. It looked like it was like 9.
Yeah. See about 9. 5 at the top, 4 at the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I think it was 9.
So, yeah.
But I guess it could have been a tie. I don't know if he did the Joe vote. I'm like, what do they revote? What if it was? Has there ever been a tie? And
I would say
what
I don't think there's ever been a tie. No.
that would be
Mm-mm.
insane for a
Yeah.
tie. And
This would have been the one for it to happen though if it was Camilla and Kyle,
yeah,
because I feel like sitting next to Camilla, Kyle would have prepared
yeah,
for that argument.
yeah, yeah,
I think he would have went a little bit more hard in the
yeah.
paint because he would have had to
Mm-hmm.
literally differentiate their games, which
Mm-hmm.
was Eva and Joe's mistake.
Yes.
Quite honestly, I'm like y'all. I can't tell if y'all Survivor super fans or not. We already know Joe ain't, but Eva,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, girl, come on now. You got like Chrissy said, you got to do a little backstabbing. You got to do just a little.
It's funny.
In terms of Camilla, though, it did bring me back to back when she won the immunity challenge, and she was saying how like her family thought she was going to be the first person eliminated, and she, my baby, they're going to be like, my baby, never got eliminated. Like she couldn't get eliminated, and I was just thinking to myself, like, how much of the messaging that she says to herself came from outside people, especially her family, for her to just instantly go back into it, because it seemed like she had such a breakthrough when she won immunity. But when it came to that fire, it was like,
Yeah.
I was like, wow, like she went right back into it. So I really felt for her. It was really sad to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree because I was like, this is the moment. But it's interesting. As much as she talks about it, I never pictured her that way. Like I never saw
Yeah.
that in her. It was like she was telling me that, and I was like, oh, she's this person who has negative self talk. But when she was doing those confessions in the beginning, I was like, she's smart. She's got strategy. She's got gumption, and it felt like she believed that about herself. That's how it felt. And so
Yeah.
I think that there is an element of like that in her that I don't think that she's giving herself enough credit for because like I said,
Yeah.
that's who I saw. That's the Camilla that I saw is someone being very, very, very bold, smart, and sure of themselves. And so like I said, I had to be like, okay, so she's saying she's having this negative self-talk. I didn't get that except when she told me.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, it did seem like it came out of left field, but we didn't have too many confessionals of her like just talking about herself. So, and
Yeah,
how she felt about her
I
own
got that, yeah.
individual game.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
she was in there talking about strategy and like what she wanted to do, the moves she wanted to make, but she's kind of the only person who didn't really have like this heart to heart moment during a confessional, at least from what I can remember.
Interesting. Maybe maybe because all the moments were in, tribe settings, and so they were just like these are better edits than the ones when she's by herself or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Enjoyed
yeah.
her.
Definitely felt
I would
for
love
her.
her to come
Yeah,
back. But the only thing I wonder about is that will people trust her if she comes back? like
Right,
players and
right.
stuff like that. But at the same time, I think that like she's the type of player who can reset because I think she's probably very disarming, like in terms of like her
Mhm.
presence. So
Yeah, agreed. We shall see cuz 50 is going to have old and new, right? Or is it
it's
going to be
gonna
all
be
old?
something. I don't know what 50 is gonna be. It's just gonna be something though. I think it's gonna be
Okay.
like old players, but I'm excited for 50. I'm really excited. Like,
Yeah.
because I love me a like all-star season type of vibe.
Yes.
But
Yes.
Survivor is so good of a show that it's like it can have new players and you get right into it just as easily as you've done like older seasons. Like
Mhm.
one of the things I was going to say earlier about liking the fact that they awarded Kyle the in prize because of his strategy and all these different things and not letting it be this big alliance sort of game. It makes me think of Big Brother, like how Big Brother turned in terms of like it was really exciting in the beginning of the game and like I will say up until about to me seasons like 12, 13, because you had so many different people going against each other. But then in like the season 14, 15, I don't was it 14? No, like 15 and like 10 seasons. What are we on? 25? Like it's been this big
Yeah.
alliance thing, and every now and then you get a season that plucks out like more of
Like
a
a Taylor.
strategy. Um,
Well, Taylor wasn't strategy, but she was never liked in terms of like an
yeah, yeah.
alliance.
But I'm saying like the big alliance steamroll is so boring to watch in Big Brother, and I'm like,
Yeah. Oh,
they
yeah.
had awarded this to Joe, and then oh my God, like please do not have a new iteration of this Survivor game turn into, a big
Right.
alliance because that's boring to watch for us as viewers. But yeah, and I think that's some of the issue with Big Brother. Like at times, it's
Mhm.
like it only gets exciting when we start to see like, okay, we got the people warring, we got different sides, people playing each other. But when it gets to be that big alliance steamrolling, and there's no chance for the others, to kind of rise up, it's boring. So,
Yeah. Agreed.
is there anything that
Um.
on this episode we haven't talked about, or the season as a whole? One thing I do want to say though is I don't think Eva and Joe like anticipated this at all. Like I think they were shocked during headlights that Tribal went that way. I think especially Eva, I think they were just very, very. I don't want to say they saw their name. They was
They
like,
were delusional.
not delusional.
Child, they was delusional as hell when Eva got up there trying to take that Shaheen vote. I said, "Girl,
Well, she just didn't know. She
girl."
just didn't know at that. She didn't know. She didn't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like based on their game, that made sense. But she just didn't know. But I don't think they were delusional. I think they just
They was acting like they was looking like, oh, Survivor was actually happening. Like people were playing Survivor. Like that is what they look like. They were shocked. They thought they knew every element of the game.
yeah, no, I shocked I'll give you.
Which which actually to Kyle's what he another thing he should have said was I made sure y'all was insulated and only got information that y'all needed that kept y'all feeling safe and secure, baby, because I knew everything that was going on.
Yeah.
Y'all knew nothing.
Yeah.
Y'all thought y'all was king and queen of the tribe because I made you feel like you was king and queen of the tribe, but really it was Camilla and I.
Yeah. No, that's very real. That's a great argument, counselor. That's a great
That's what he
argument.
should have said.
Because it was literally like even when he came around when they were considering whether to do Mitch or not, and then Kyle was like, "It's all
Yeah.
good, it's all good." And knowing he had just had whatever conversation I think it was with Mitch or whoever, and they knew Mitch was out here like, let's
Trying to go for
yeah.
Joe.
So that's factual. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that at all. Yeah, they were
Yeah,
they
when
were
Eva
out of
said that, I was like,
they
mm-mm,
were out of it. But I
this ain't
think,
it.
yeah, I think it just like Eva was trusting and she
Yeah,
trusted in her people, so that narrative was easy for her because she trusted in her people.
right.
And so as long as that narrative didn't glaringly shift and seem like it wasn't in alignment with the facts that she trusted, then she was all good to go. Because there was so many times where she should have, you know what I mean, like the David vote, the just so many votes. But so that's that.
Yeah.
And then the second thing with regard to Joe is that like I don't think, like you said, maybe he was as big of a Survivor fan, and so he was just like, this is the beginning. Like this is the first time anybody's ever played it, and it's like numbers, strength in numbers, and it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
but watch out for the snakes, okay? Watch out for
Right.
the snakes. Watch
Right.
out for the people behind you. And I don't think he got that. But yeah, interesting. But I mean,
Yeah, well, he definitely didn't, because it was like he almost had to be reminded that he was playing Survivor. Like Shaheen had to remind him, like, welcome to Survivor, buddy. Sometimes your name might get written down for your alliance.
But
You know what I'm saying? And then there was also what did he say? He at the end he was like, to come this far and do all this work to go out by a spark. I was like,
yeah,
this is Survivor. Like sometimes this is what happens. Like that's not a good way to like kind of convince somebody to choose you to not make fire. You know what I'm saying? Especially as a fireman.
right. Well, I mean, I'm one of the people who do not like fire. I don't like fire. I would rather it be like old school Survivor, and there be it's
Another vote.
yeah, isn't that what do they do, a vote then, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have rather old school Survivor. The fire is like so like to me.
It's up and down. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think there was any saving his game with that fire either way. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
But you said you wanted to say
It
something
wasn't.
earlier about Eva's fire making moment.
Yes, yes. So Kyle and Joe both were thinking about giving up their spot to make fire for Eva. And in that moment, I wanted to jump to the screen and say, she is reacting.
Mm-hmm.
She might be hurt because of the reaction that she is having and feeling like she cannot, you know, control it and like calm herself down. But this is not a reason to give up your game,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
She came here wanting to represent for individuals who have autism, wanting to show her strength. Like, she can do hard things and she can get through hard things.
No,
What we're not about to do is spoon feed her because of this diagnosis that she has, because that's not what this first of all, it's not what she's asking you guys to do for her.
Mm-hmm.
The only help she asked for was to just hold my hands and hug me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so in those moments, it's like, don't step up and try and be like Mr. Macho, I can save you, when one, this lady's not asking you to do that, and two, sometimes you have to learn that like some people, like, we're gonna react. Camilla reacted. You know what I'm saying? Like Camilla was also having a very emotional moment. It may not have looked like Eva's, but she was also reacting, because that's what happens when you're under pressure. You react. So yeah, I was definitely about to come to that screen and say, Kyle, Joe, sit yours down. Please. Please don't do it. Please don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that wasn't the way it went down, because in my mind I was like, oh my God, if Kyle does like not make this fire, like if he makes it against who would have been Camilla? Yeah. And then Camilla beats him, I would be like, whoa,
Yes.
this is just absurd, you know?
Yeah.
But
that would have been his $1 million mistake.
Yeah. But yeah, anything else that we haven't touched on?
No, I think that is it for this one. Drop your comments below. Tell us what your thoughts were on the finale. And we will see y'all in the fall for season 49 of Survivor. If you're not already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you can stay tuned. Big Brother is coming up for all the CBS game show fans. And yeah, some other things, Jenny in Georgia.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So yeah, stay tuned. Take the ride with us, honey. Until next season.
All right, bye.
Bye.